Welcome back. In this video, what we are going to do is we are going to make a book in Inventor. So I've got just generic dimensions for a book. These are the dimensions for our first book, and then you're going to create a second book of your own size. But it's going to be 5 by 8 and then 1.875 thick. From here, we can go ahead and the hardcover of the book is 0.1875, and then the paper indent, so how far the paper goes in, is 0.25. So I'm going to go New Part, create a sketch, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the whole area of the book. So in general, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this subtractive. So I'm going to make a rectangle. It is 8 tall by 5, so 8 tab 5, enter. And I make a rectangle about the right size. I'm going to finish that sketch, extrude, and the distance across was 1.875. So I'm going to type that in, click OK, and if I click on my box, you're going to see that it comes out, and you're going to see the whole area of our book. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start working on some of the surfaces. So let's just I'm going to pick the binding side right here. So this first cut, I'll click on this, and I'm just going to create a rectangle. So this rectangle is not snapped on any part, and it's not dimensioned, but it's the full height. So you can see the purple lines are constrained to the top and bottom, but the green lines means they're not constrained at all. So I've got to make these 0.1875 away from the outside. So that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm selecting the line on the side, and 0.1875. You can see up top that it says 0.188, just rounding up to show you the number, not changing the number. So if I clicked on it again, it will show me the exact number I put in there. Now I'm going to finish sketch, use my extrude command, and paper indent is 0.25. So I'm going to type in 0.25. Going to make sure it's going the other direction. It already changed it to cut for me, which is great. And I click OK, and I've got it. So from here, I'm going to work on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and click Project Geometry. That way it gets all those lines in there. That way I can use those lines. So if I click on my first corner up there, it will actually lock into place down on the bottom, and then all I have to do is on this back side change it up to the thickness of the binding of the book, which is 0.1875. Finish that sketch, go ahead, extrude, click on that area, tell it to be a cut, say OK, and there we go, the top's cut. I'm going to do the same thing again for the bottom. Project Geometry, click on my rectangle, click on that dot, go down till it locks on the other side. Then all I need to do is one last dimension of 0.1875, enter, finish, extrude, click on the area, it's already at 0.25, tell it to be cut, it automatically flipped it, then I click OK. Now I have the generic shape of my book. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss the front of this, and then you get to color this however you want. So to emboss, I've got to use my sketch here, and I'm going to create words on it. So I use the A tool or text tool, and I can just click anywhere on the screen, or I can click drag to make a box, but I'm just going to click for now. The general size of text that I like for this project is 0.65, and then I could give the title of the book whatever I wanted. So, version 2 Inventor. So if I click OK on this, it's just going to put it as one line. So it went ahead and just made all of that as one line. I'm still in the text command. I can either unclick it or hit escape a bunch of times, and I get out of my text tool. That way I can go back and I can edit this. Now if I click and hold on introduction, you're going to see that's just about the size of the book, maybe a little too large for me. So I'm just going to go back here. I've got to highlight all of the text if I want to change the size of my text. So I'm going to highlight it, change it, let's say just down to 0.55, and I want to go ahead and make it so it's not all in one line anymore. So I'm just changing my spaces to enters. And when I go ahead while I'm at it, I will change it all to a center. Then I click OK. Now it's all centered. So if I click and hold on this, I can move it around right where I want it to be, and it's on the book. Next thing we're going to do is now we are going to use the emboss tool. So that's an E on a curve up here, and it's got a couple features on it. First one is to make the letters stick out. Second one is to make the letters go in. This is to change your directions and emboss engrave from a plane. So as of this one, what we're going to do is we're going to engrave from the face. So we're actually going to cut it in. I can highlight my text, click on it. You can see the arrows pointing in this direction. I need to actually switch it to the other one so that it will cut into the book. And then I just make this a really small number because the indentation doesn't need to be very big. And then I click OK. There you're going to see it cut into the book and made that for me. So I'm just going to make this a little bigger here so I can get all my default for colors. So I could make the book whatever color I want. I'll just pick a light red for now. And then I can either click on the parts on the side or I can click on the surfaces I want to change colors. So if I click emboss on the side menu, I can change that to whatever color I wanted. And then I can click on a surface, and if I hold down the Shift command, I can actually highlight more than one surface, and I can change that color to be whatever color I want. And there we go. We have a book. Have fun.